Yes, guys, welcome from me, Church Manager 0102. Now, I've started a new save on the update. Now, don't think I've abolished the Challenge 10 on the ODB. That's still going, but I've spent a lot of time on the update of late, doing a lot of testing, and I finally settled with a formation. And I did so much testing, and you can see who I've started at right there, Manchester United. Now, don't be fooled by my start to the season. Okay, do not be fooled by my start to the season at all. Because I haven't had any real challenging games yet. There you see, I mean, what's been my most challenging game? Tottenham maybe? At home, 1-0. So I expect the wheels to come off. So somebody asked me about making a list of players to go for on the update. Well, I'll give you a couple of them. These are a few that I've gone for myself. Now, a few of these I've looked at, and they have a potential ability of at least 180. So, whilst they might not look that good, I do believe they'll develop. So, that guy here, whose name escapes me, I'm not even going to dare try and pronounce his name. Struikens, is that right? So I've paid, I think, £7 million, I think, for him. £6.6 million I'm going to pay for him. I'm going to pay an additional 3.3 after 10 league appearances. I don't know if he'll make those 10 appearances this season. As you can see, he hasn't played yet. Dani Olmo. Now, Dani Olmo, he was always a player I went to in the last update. I always thought he was a prolific attacking midfielder, and he starts this game not needed by a club. So you can pick him up for dirt cheap, 7.25, and there you can see, look what his value is. Let me remind you, I'm on 2.5 inflation rate, so very, very happy with him, although, you'll see what I'm saying although on Dani Olmo in a moment. Julian Brandt, if that's how you say it. Again, he's another one that starts not needed by his club, Dortmund, so you can pick him up dirt cheap, £5.5 million. Lucas Klosterman, he was always one of my go-to players on the last update, and again here, and I always say Klosterman is like a regen in real life of Philipp Lahm. Plays anywhere across the back line and in defensive midfield. He's a very versatile player, and he will cost you, as you can see, £29 million. Another youngster here, Andres, Andreas, Norwegian, 9.4 million pounds I'm going to pay for him, 4.7 and another 4.7. So you can see what my plan is with another youngster here. Another one that I've learned to, or you can always pick him up, is this guy here, Attila, £16 million. I think Man United needed a strong defender, and I do believe he looks strong. I believe he'll get better. I hope he gets better, and I hope his performances do as well. He has only had 3 games, though, to be fair. Sean Longstaff. Now, Sean Longstaff was not needed by Newcastle. I am using central midfielders. You'll understand why in a moment. Now, initially, Newcastle bid for one of my players, and I'm trying to remember who it was. But I looked at the exchange. Longstaff I put him in the deal. They then came back with a deal for Longstaff, offering Longstaff and a bit of money. But then somebody else bid for that player, a much more bigger amount, and I knew I could pick up Longstaff for a little amount. So £5 million for Longstaff. Let's go to the next one. Who else have we got then? Right, Sabitzer. He does come available. I have him on the short list, but he becomes available because Bayern Munich transfer list him. So if you persevere, he might not be available immediately. The problem I've got with him is I'm not sure if I'm going to use him that much, but we'll see how he goes. Now, you can see, transfer deadline, I had a lot of money to spend, and as you all know, particularly on the update, it's very difficult to get deals over the line. And then it went crazy. So, Andre Silva, as you can see, I paid a lot of money for him. 38, it was quite a good deal, actually. I was very pleased with that. He won't be a regular this season, initially. And there you see, you're probably thinking I paid too much money for him. You're probably right, 71 million for Yuri Tillemans. But you can see so far he's done in the first 4 games. In terms of my players out, there you see. I think majority of them are all straight values. I think there was a couple that may be over 6 months. Now the one, who was it? It was Mason Greenwood I fucked off. I had a little bit of reluctancy to keep Greenwood given the current real life situation, and it was Greenwood that was going to go to Newcastle, but then Arsenal weighed in with a £14 million bid. You may argue, why sell him to one of my rivals, but 14 million was not to be sneezed at. And during a lot of testing, Greenwood does shit, and as you can see in 9 games there, he's done shit. So McTominay, when I'm not using defensive midfielders, more about that in a moment, hence why I sold Casemiro. Now, again, like I said, buying players can be very difficult on the update, so can selling players. So what I tend to do is I transfer list them at half their value. Casemiro was worth £17 million. I mean, you can see I got a good deal for Brandon Williams there, £7 million. And who else did I get some good money for? Tellus, 9.5. That was up front. That was up front actually. So yeah, quite a bit. Ericsson as well, £6.5 million. I think this guy here went over 6 months. To be honest with you. Okay, so let me now show you my tactic. Now, I've recently gone to this tactic on my three-man game with Pep and Ian. Now, I don't know, maybe I'm just overthinking things, and I'm always intrigued to know what you guys' view is on this tactic. Firstly, it's a tactic that the AI tend to use, but in all fairness, I think, you know, it depends on if you're going to, what sort of team instructions you're going to use, any player instructions. That being said, I don't really use much player instructions at all on this. I used a baseline of this 4-2-3-1 non-whip-up tactic, and it was something like that, and that's how it came through. I didn't like it, so I modified it myself. I haven't given it a name yet, so feel free to throw a name for this tactic. I think initially I had the fullbacks not running forward. In fact, on my three-man game, I'm sure I've got the attacking midfielder here going forward. But nevertheless, as you can see, so going back to what I said about the attacking midfielder, Bruno Fernandes, who has been quite nerfed in this update, is holding that role. So Olmo will come in as and when. And where you can see, in the middle, I want to use central midfielders. Normally I don't really go with that shit, but I don't know, OCD, let's call it. And as you can see, Martial is a forward left, Marcus Rashford is a forward right. You can see I've got Anthony who can play on that side, and I've got Pellistri who can play on the right side, the Andres that can play on the left side. Jadon Sancho is an attacking midfielder on this particular update as opposed to forward, so I may just offload, say, Jadon Sancho at some point. Ronaldo has started very well for me, but he is 37, and given recent events of Ronaldo and Piers Morgan, I'm going to sell that cunt because I don't like the bastard anyway. I don't care how many goals he scores for me. And David De Gea has been my undisputed number one, although you can't grumble at 7-7-0. No one of interest in my reserves, but you can see fringe players that I've got, the players that I brought, a couple of players from the reserves have come up. I don't think there's anybody else worth screwing at. Now, we'll put something out. Now, I don't like this guy. You all know who I'm going to go to, don't you? That fridge on wheels. And my mouse seems to be playing up. The fridge on wheels. Yeah, you got it. That fucking beanpole. 2 games, 2 sixes. Not acceptable. His figures have been nerfed as well. I probably will fuck him off as well in the January window. Now my mouse seems to really be playing up. I've just got in from work, kids have been on the computer, and the mouse isn't working. I'm just saying how that fucking looks. Okay, so defensively, Bissaka wasn't a starter. He came in and, you know, give him credit where it's due there, because I think initially, I had Klosterman at right back. So that is where we are at. So that is my latest game on the update. Fred, I don't like Fred, I don't rate Fred. 2 games, and Youri Tielemans, you can see how well Youri Tielemans is doing for me. I think in extreme circumstances I will play an attacking midfielder if I really have to. But that being said, I've got Longstaff to come in. Sabitzers, if that's how you pronounce it, can come in as well, I guess. Don't forget I've got Elanga as well. He can come in on the left, because ideally, in an ideal world, OCD here kicking in, I don't want to play like Sancho on the wing. I want to play a forward left, an inside forward, like what these guys are, Martial and Rashford. And as you can see, Rashford is forward, right, left, centre, so he can move over to the left if need be. So that is that. Now, as I said, let me have a quick gander now at some of these games, and you can tell me what you think. So yeah, very pleased with the opening game. 4-0. We completely dominated it. Spurs, we were living on borrowed time there against Spurs. I think if that had gone any longer, they'd have fucking beaten us. I think they'd have equalised at least. Bournemouth, we raced into a lead on that, and then it was nervous times for Bournemouth. So I'm not saying that the tactic is an absolute monster, because it's not. Fulham, very, very pleased with Fulham. The performance there was very consistent. Did very well indeed. On to the Europa League, the Europa Cup, whatever, the Steaua Bucharest away. Yeah, that was a boring game. I think I did play, particularly on the second leg. Let's go to that second leg quickly. Second leg, yeah, we dominated it. I think Ronaldo lost his place for a little period of time there. Everton away, yeah, we edged it there. Aston Villa at home, we destroyed them there. And Brentford, very, very angry with that. Very, very angry. I did make a bid for Ivan Toney, but they basically told me to fuck off. And finally, West Bromwich Albion in the League Cup. Pretty pleased with that. Pretty fucking pleased with that, indeed. So, in terms of reserves at Man United, I don't know if I mean, Van der Beek is still going. I've got a very small amount of reserves. Donny Van der Beek, I've really got no interest to keep him. He is worth, I think you'll find, 14 or 13. But, yeah, so, Mengi, what's the matter with Mengi? I bet he's worth... Right, okay, forget that. So, this is the Man United save. We'll call this part 1. I don't know. But another thing that I added, just a real tiny thing, something that I added to my install, nothing major. You may see it right in front of you there. Training Ground, it says excellent. It has a rating out of 20, as per what it would say in the editor. But now, on every team, you can see, so let's go to Arsenal, 19 out of 20. Let's go to Villa, 18, Bournemouth, 13, and so on and so on and so on. Let's go to Man City, fucking div. Let's go to Liverpool, 20, and let's go to Man City, 2020. Let me just make sure that I'm reading that right. Just want to check a crappy team. Apologies to Gillingham fans here. Newport, you'll do. Yes, I see. Yeah, it's all the same. I actually thought that was 2 ratings, 9 for one and 20 for the other, but I think it's 9 out of 20. So, yeah, that was the other thing. And also the Yugoslavia patch, or the Serbia has been replaced with Yugoslavia. Now this is, we've tested and shit, this is one of the longest games I've got going on the update. Now of course I know from feedback the World Cup causes a lot of issues, because clearly the Premier League does not come to a halt like it will in real life, or like it has in real life. So the only thing I would say, an idea for you guys, when you get to a league game and half your players are on international duty because of the World Cup, request a postponement. You may get it. You may end up requesting a few postponements and you may get them all. It'll help you during the World Cup, but of course you'll have a fixture congestion, no doubt about that. Just worth noting. Okay, but I'll obviously, hopefully give you some feedback on that. And that is it. In terms of money, we've spent all our money. Of course we have. There you go. We spent £187 million, and even that isn't the total amount, because we are going to spend another 4.7 over here, another 3.3 over there. So we are actually whack another £8 million on that to get the full figure. So a bit near on £200 million. But like I said, Maguire, Ronaldo, and who was the other one I said? Maguire, Ronaldo. Who's the other cunt I said that was going to probably leave? Oh my god, I've had a fucking mind blank. Who was the other cunt I said that was gonna leave? Fuck knows. But incidentally, Pellistri has done very well for me. Okay, and that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you've got anything to add, anything you want to ask, do let us know. Just real quickly, I haven't really got any modifications on this tactic. I'm sort of something that Gary said ages ago. It doesn't really tamper with them too much, and I took that on board, and I've started to do that a lot now, including on the set pieces. I've reverted them all back to normal. I say that I think on a default they've got places, but I think I've kept it relatively simple. Long shots, yeah, I did a couple of alterations, a few through balls. Fernandes, that's why he's assist machine. Well, that's fucking wrong, isn't it? That's a total fuck up, isn't it? So cross ball. I mean, I'm not going to alter it. I'm going to leave it as it is. That's for fucking damn sure. But you're telling me, I mean, Rashford, I mean, I get 4 of them. Why the fuck is Bruno Fernandes crossing the ball is beyond me. And let's just have a look at his crossing. 17. So, interesting. So we'll leave it at that maybe. Right, that's that. Till next time, guys, from me. Take it easy.